You and your problems. Venerable Dr. K Sri Dhammananda. Nature of the human being. Physical pleasures and material happiness are fugitive. They come and go, bringing joy and sorrow alternately. When joy becomes man, becomes elated. And when sorrow comes, he becomes dejected. All the hopes and joys of this world are fleeting. They do not give perpetual peace or happiness to man, and uncertainty is the characteristic of this world. The whole of creation is undergoing constant, continuous change. Everything in it is subject to birth, growth, development, decay, dissolution, death. There's nothing in creation that can escape this series of transmutations. To seek the real, which is self-revealing and immortal, man is required to turn his back on the unreal objects of the world. When he realizes the futility of running after the world and its objects, he turns his back on them. He resorts to renunciation. He withdraws himself from them, turns his search inwards. His journey ends when he reaches the truth of truth, light of light. This turning point marks the beginning of a genuine spiritual endeavour. Everything other than this is like a child's play in the name of religion. Playthings are necessary for the child, for its growth at a particular stage, but they're no longer required when this stage is past. Religious life is an adventure. It demands an energetic spirit where occasion for doubt exists. It is right and proper for a man to doubt. The weakling or the feeble-minded cannot tread the spiritual path. The self cannot be realized by the weak. Religion offers the greatest challenge to man. It challenges him to give up too much of attachment. No other consideration should hold man back. All the religions warn man against the dangers and pitfalls that he has to encounter in his spiritual pilgrimage. They prescribe methods by which he can avoid the pitfalls and overcome the difficulties and dangers on the way. There are several methods to suit the mental equipment and spiritual competence of diverse aspirants. Today you may be a millionaire. Tomorrow, a pauper. Today, healthy, beautiful. Tomorrow, beauty and youth can disappear. Similarly, you can end poverty and ill health by your karma, deeds. This advice is a real magic that can cure all our depressed moods. It's a great tonic for weak hearts. Strength does not come from physical capacity, it comes from indomitable will, said Mahatma Gandhi. Man seeks wealth to satisfy his urge for pleasure. Desire seeks satisfaction. Wealth helps him to get this satisfaction. If unchecked by ethical and spiritual values and disciplines, this urge for pleasure in him becomes an endless urge. Every satisfaction raises 10 more urges for pleasure. You want a person to listen to you for a long period. Talk to him about himself, and he'll listen. Desire chases satisfactions. Satisfaction chases desires, leaving man a prey to an ethical inclination. The ideal of a complete man, integral, fulfilled, recedes far into the background, but he becomes distressed to find that his heart is still craving for pleasures. The body has become old, unfit as an instrument of pleasure, but the heart remains youthful in its urge for pleasure. This glaring fact makes him thoughtful. Reviewing his life with its double round of pleasures, he's struck with the foolishness of it all, tries to disentangle himself from the wrong course. If you wish to be good, first understand that you are capable of being bad. Spiritual progress is possible only where there is freedom of thought. Where, however, blind belief in authority prevails, then there will be no mental progress. Freedom of thinking leads to mental vigour and progress, while dogmatism leads to stagnation. Experience further shows that dogmatic belief goes everywhere hand in hand with intolerance, whereas wherever the one appears, the other is not far off. The spiritual development of man is more important than the attainment of his material comforts. History has taught us that we cannot expect human comforts and happiness at the same time. The lives of people are, in the main, regulated by spiritual values and moral principles, which only religion can effectively provide. Man is the most significant of all beings. According to Buddhism, man is of more significance than the gods. Why? It's because the gods are merely enjoying temporarily the results of good actions performed in the past. But man contains within himself additional potentials. He is the master of his own destiny. On the battlefield of his own mind, he can conquer the whole world. But in order to do this, he must understand the nature of karma. The principle that governs his internal, external world. Parental responsibility. You are responsible for the well-being and upbringing of your children. If the child grows up to be a strong, healthy, useful citizen, it's the result of your efforts. If the child grows up to be a delinquent, it is you who must bear the responsibility. Don't blame others. As parents, it is your duty to guide your child on a proper path. Although there are a few incorrigible cases of juvenile delinquency, nevertheless, as parents, you're responsible for the behaviour of your children. A child at its most impressionable age needs the love, care, affection, attention of parents. Without parental love and guidance, the child will be emotionally handicapped, will find the world a bewildering place to live in. Showering parental love does not mean pandering to all the demands of the child, reasonable or otherwise. Too much pampering would in fact spoil the child. Mother is bestowing her love and care, should also be strict and firm, but not harsh. Handling the anger of a child, show your love with a disciplined hand. The child will understand. Fortunately, all too often, parental love in our present-day society is sadly lacking. The rush for material advancement and the rising aspiration for equality of the sexes have resulted in many mothers joining their husbands in the rat race. Mothers struggle to maintain their family image, status symbol by working in offices and shops, rather than being at home tendering the needs of their offspring. Children who are left to care of relatives or paid servants, children who are left to their own devices at home, are often deprived of motherly love and care. The mother, feeling guilty about her lack of attention, will try to placate the child by giving in to all sorts of demands of the child. Such action only spoils the child. Providing the child with sophisticated modern toys that are detrimental to character formation, such as tanks, machine guns, pistols, swords, are psychologically unwholesome. The child is unwittingly being taught to condone destruction instead of being taught to be kind, compassionate, helpful. Such a child will develop brutal tendencies as it grows up. Giving a child such toys is no substitute for parents' love, affection. Parents are often placed in a dilemma. Rushing home from a hard day's work, the weary parents have family chores. And when the day's work is done, it will be a time for dinner followed by TV. Whatever time is left is hardly enough to attend to a child's rightful dues of parental love and affection. With the call for women's liberation, many women seem to think that the solution is to compete with men outside the home. Such women should consider very carefully whether to bear children. It is irresponsible for a mother to bring a life into this world. Abandon it. You're responsible for what you create. A child has a right to be satisfied materially. More importantly, spiritually, psychologically. The provision of material comfort is secondary compared to the provision of parental love and attention. We know of many people from poor homes who have brought up children well, plenty of love, although with a poor income. On the other hand, many rich people have provided every material comfort for their children. But being deprived of parental love, these children have grown up to become psychologically, morally handicapped. Some women may feel that advising them to concentrate on the upbringing of the family is something degrading and reflects the thinking of the old and the conservative. It's true that in the past women have been treated very badly, but this was due more to ignorance on the part of men than to inherent weakness in women. Sanskrit word for a housewife is Gruhini, which literally means leader of the house. Certainly this does not imply that a woman is inferior. Rather, it means a division of responsibility for the male and the female. Certain countries, many husbands hand over their pay packet to their wives, who handle domestic affairs. This leaves the man free to concentrate on what he can do best. Since each partner knows clearly what his or her responsibilities are, there is no conflict between them. Atmosphere at home is happy, peaceful, where the children can grow up well. Of course, the husband must see to it that his partner is well cared for, that she is consulted on every family decision, that there is enough freedom for her to develop her own personality. She has her own free time to pursue her personal interests. In this sense, husband and wife are equally responsible for the welfare of their family. They are not in competition with each other. A mother should consider carefully whether she should continue as a working mother with all the attendant pitfalls, or be a housewife giving all her due affection and care to a growing child. Strangely, some modern mothers, particularly in certain countries with military regimes, facing a shortage of manpower, women are being trained to handle guns, deadly weapons, when they should be cuddling their children and training them to be good law-abiding citizens. Modern attitude of working mothers towards their children tends to erode the time-honoured filial piety, which children are expected to uphold. The replacement of breastfeeding by bottle feeding is yet another cause for concern. Hitherto, when mothers used to breastfeed and cuddle babies in their arms, the tender affection between mother and child was much greater. Breastfeeding mother, through a maternal instinct, often experiences a tremendous satisfaction from knowing she is providing the baby, as nature had intended, with something of her very own, which no one else can give. The influence a mother has on the child becomes much more pronounced under such circumstances. Filial piety, family cohesion, and obedience are invariably present. These traditional practices are for the good and the well-being of children. It is up to the parents, especially the mother, to provide them with love, care and affection as their rightful dues. The mother is responsible for the child being good or wayward. The mother can thus reduce juvenile delinquency at the highest level of thinking. You can see things as they are, not as you are, and you know that you are responsible for everything. How many youths recognize the kindness shown by parents? Usually people do not realize it until they themselves become parents or lose their parent. We should show our gratitude through practicing filial piety by being responsible, considerate, grateful and obedient to our parents. The man and his honey. Here is a short parable to help us understand the real nature of life and the worldly pleasure. A man had lost his way whilst he was going through a thick forest covered with thorns and rocks. He was confronted by a huge elephant, which started to chase him. He ran for his life. While he was running, he saw an old well and thought that this would be a good place for him to escape from the elephant. Unfortunately, he saw a big poisonous snake at the bottom of the well. But since there was no other way of escape from the elephant, he jumped into the well, managed to cling to a thick thorny creeper that was growing on the side wall of the well. While he was hanging on to the creeper, he saw two mice, white one, a dark one. To his horror, he saw that these two mice were nibbling slowly at the creeper to which he was holding on. However, he found a beehive close by from which occasional drops of honey trickled down. Facing his death in 3 different ways, in that precarious position, he greedily started to taste the honey drops. Someone passed by and, seeing the pathetic situation of this poor man, volunteered to give a helping hand to save his life. But this greedy, foolish man did not listen because of the irresistible taste of the honey he was enjoying. The taste of the honey had intoxicated him to the point he preferred to ignore the dangerous position he was facing. Here, in this parable, the thorny path of the forest is equated to samsara, the wheel of existence. The thorny path of samsara is a very uncertain and troublesome one. It is not easy for a person to carry on his life through the rough and tough jungle of samsara. The elephant here represents death. Death always follows us, makes us unhappy. Our old age also creates unhappiness and insecurity in our minds. The creeper is our birth. Just as a creeper goes on growing and coiling with other plants, our birth also goes on accumulating, holding, clinging to so many other superfluous things in the world. The 2 white, dark mice represent day, night, respectively. From the very day that we were born to this world, the passage of day and night goes on cutting and shortening our lifespan. The drops of honey are the fleeting sensual worldly pleasures which tempt man to remain in this impermanent, uncertain world. The kind man who came to give his helping hand to show him the correct path and to get rid of the dangerous situation was the Buddha. A man who thinks that it is better for him to remain in this world, to enjoy worldly life without trying to attain salvation, is exactly like this foolish man who refused the offer to escape from the dangerous situation of his life, just to taste a little bit of honey. Nature is evenly balanced. Her equilibrium cannot be disturbed. Natural laws, which operate unerringly and inexorably, are not swayed by praises, prayers, or sacrifices. They operate at the physical and mental realms without the intervention of a lawgiver. One of such natural laws, which have a strong bearing on the quality of human life, is the cosmic law of karma. This law operates as the moral sphere. Wholesome, unwholesome acts, performed by thought, word, deed, will in due time produce corresponding good and bad results. If a man is cruel, performs wicked acts, and does not live in conformity with the natural cosmic laws, he pollutes the whole atmosphere with his unwholesome deeds. As a result of such unwholesome deeds, unfavourable results will arise, making it difficult for him to lead a happy, contented, peaceful life. He creates unhappiness for himself and others with his polluted mind. On the other hand, if he lives in conformity with the natural cosmic law, leads a righteous and blameless life, he purifies the atmosphere with the merits of his virtues. With his positive mental vibrations, he influences those around him as well as creates an environment conducive to peace and happiness. Those who lead their lives by going against nature must face the consequences, either physically or mentally.